In this episode, we're going to cover 3 things: what the draft horse effect is, 2, why it works, super cool, and 3, how you can use it to level up your training.
Okay, first, before we get started, what is a draft horse? The draft horse is sort of that like Budweiser horse. It's the giant Clydesdales. It's the big horses that pull things, right? So there's your mental image. And you've probably heard the phrases like getting pulled along or riding the train or letting the group carry you in group efforts. The most important part here is that it's only possible with other people, and it has an amplifying effect, which is really, really cool.
So I first heard about this when I co-moderated a panel that included some Nike pros. And there was a woman on the panel that someone asked in the audience, why are you part of a team? And she said, I'm part of the team because of the draft horse effect. And she rattled off these numbers. A draft horse alone is a powerful beast, right? It can pull up to 4,000 pounds. If you put 2 draft horses together, they can initially pull not 8, but 16,000 pounds. That's a 2 times multiplier just by being side by side. And if you train them to work together and pull together, they can pull, wait for it, up to 32,000 pounds. That is a 4-time multiplier. That is literally what the draft horse effect is. By training together side by side in a small pack, we can do way more work than the sum of our parts. And that really is the power of the pace group, right? That is why you run with people who are similarly paced day in and day out.
Yeah, so why it works, the draft horse effect works because athletes are extremely responsive to shared effort, to rhythm, and to external pacing. It's the reason why our workouts always feel like they take less effort when we're with other people, especially in endurance sports.
Here are 7 ways on how and why really the draft horse effect works. Number 1 is perceived effort drops. One of the biggest reasons running with others feels easier with a group is crazy because we're actually going faster, but it feels easier. Like, what is that? Your brain is constantly evaluating when you're running alone. How hard is this, right? You're overanalyzing. Can I sustain this? Should I slow down? But in a group, all of those kind of warning signals are dampened and turned down because you're focused externally instead of internally. You have other people that you can kind of relate to. You're matching movement, right? Instead of calculating your own effort, if Chris and I are side by side, I'm just trying to match what you're doing, right? And the pace begins to feel normalized by the people around you. That's why runners often, when they're running together, will accidentally go faster when they run in groups than alone, much to the coach's chagrin, right? But you can also keep each other in check. We'll get to that. But this is why that happens.
Number 2, shared pacing removes the mental load. Just like you said, we're externally focused. So pacing yourself solo is cognitively tiring.
Yeah, it's exhausting.
You have to keep monitoring yourself, but in a group, somebody else can establish the rhythm or you do it together, and decision-making decreases because it's shared. So you can sort of just lock in and follow the group pace, which removes the mental effort for you. This creates efficiency similar to cycling in a peloton. Like in a group, beyond just like aerodynamic benefits, which we'll get to, your nervous system loves predictable rhythm, which a group provides.
Number 3, competitive instinct raises the ceiling. This is not to say that you're going to be like cutthroat competitive. It's just natural. Humans are naturally responsive to social comparison. We know that, right? This is why the online stuff is so gnarly. Even recreational runners unconsciously think, I can't hold this. I can't hold this. Don't let the gap open. Got to stay connected, right? The slight competitive activation of running with others that are similarly increased can actually increase our things like adrenaline and focus, pain tolerance, and even our motor unit recruitment. So like how well our nerves are responding, which is why you can often access effort levels in groups that are really, really, really hard to do alone. This is also what I'd like to call race day magic, right? Where you can just kind of reach a new echelon of flow that you're like, couldn't I do this? It's because you're running with people that are similarly paced all around you. Number 4, you're able to mirror your neuron and synchronization, which is so cool. Groups naturally will synchronize things like cadence and breathing and stride rate and posture. That synchronization can actually improve run economy because the body settles into a smoother movement pattern, right? We kind of take the pretty running stuff and attach it to the pretty running stuff. So like you typically have a looser upper body and I have a straighter upper body, you're going to eventually, by training together, pick up on what I'm doing and have that kind of blend together. So everyone's form tightens up. This is also why I love a solid training group that shows up for each other day in and day out. We'll get to that.
Number 5, small aerodynamic savings are real. So in road running especially, sitting behind others, or drafting as we call it, is reducing the wind resistance slightly, but it slightly is kind of like
in Chicago, it can be a lot.
Up to 25%. So up to 25% savings of your effort by running with the group in a pack. And these savings are modest compared to cycling, of course, but over marathons or hard tempo runs, or even steady long runs, it really matters.
Number 6, emotional regulation and resilience, right? Groups help regulate discomfort. So when fatigue hits and you're alone, we all know this, like, doom spiral. Discomfort becomes threatening, pace feels unsustainable. You start thinking, can I do this? How can I do this? In a group, that suffering really becomes this shared experience. So that means that our own confidence can increase. And because we're externally kind of focusing, we're not in that doom spiral quite as much. Quitting cues can also decrease because I'm going to be a lot less in my head if I know that Chris is counting on me to carry, the group the next 3 miles. This is a huge reason that training and pacing groups consistently outperform isolated training. I cannot tell you how many times people join our group and say, I trained last year alone. I trained with a group this year. Wow, I felt so much better. I'm like, yeah, you trained the hard way. So please, 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 please group up with the people for the emotional side of it, if nothing else.
And number 7, the pull upward effect. So training in groups creates a path for upward adaptation, meaning getting better. So if you consistently run with slightly stronger athletes, your body has to adapt to those higher levels of output. So your normal pace eventually shifts to be a little bit faster, and your tolerance for discomfort expands.
This is why well-structured group environments and pace group environments can really accelerate development, but it only works if the gap isn't too large, like you can't jump too much, right? You're gonna burn out, and that you have to have adequate recovery. If you don't know what a recovery or rest day, please tune into the prior episode to this, as well as, that runners you're not constantly overreaching. So you still need to respect the recovery periods in order to be able to link up and take advantage of the draft horse effect. So how can you use the draft horse effect to level up your training? This is probably why you tuned into this, right? You can implement this pretty easily.
Here's how to do it. Number 1, find a pace group. So you need people who are similarly paced to you or paced slightly faster than you. And we're not talking like 2 or 3 pace groups ahead of you, but we're talking like seconds per mile.
Yep.
Right? In our edge pace group, we have color bands. And so it's very typical to have individuals with varying strengths. Like, we have some folks who are really good at speed. We have other folks who are really our long distance runners. And this is a great way to work on our weaknesses.
One of my favorite Nike Run Club quotes by Coach Bennett is to identify your weaknesses and seek out to destroy them. And I think that draft horses are the most perfect example of how to seek out to destroy them. We always see every summer the groups that are the biggest and the most consistent with each other. Those are the ones that make the biggest gains. So, our green pace group, for instance, is usually right under sub 4, which is a more common goal. So they're going to be a little bit more robust and have a little bit more focus. They will typically see the biggest gains because they show up for each other week on week. And that pace group is just very cohesive, which we love to see it. Number 2 is to meet up for quality sessions, right? Tempo, speed, long runs, 100%. These are the ones that you want to use the draft horse effect on the most. Take care, like we said, to not run past the prescriptive pace because that overall effort is going to feel a little bit lighter. It's going to be easy to run a little faster than you need to. But just like you can pull each other up, you can also use each other to keep each other in check.
Number 3, rotate the lead runner. So during a run, when you are running in a group, switch up who's in the front and share the load. If that person in front, if you're drafting, like literally behind, you're going to be putting out less effort. So you want to make sure that you're also taking your pull. It helps to share the wind exposure. It helps for pacing appropriately. And it helps for mental effort. Like if you are pulling and going a pace, but you know that you get to fall back and let somebody else pull, even if you're going to be running the same pace, right, just not being in charge can relieve a little bit of the mental stress of running.
And I love this. Like if you have someone who is always just like going way too fast in the long run, just don't let them in front for a while, right? And also be very vocal. Like if it's going to be a 15-mile long run and you want to switch out every mile who's pulling, just talk about that with your group. Number 4, accountability and consistency matter. Showing up for your teammates means that you will not only get to hone your own skills and improve and become faster and stronger, but your teammates will as well. So getting to that 32,000 pound pull rate means training time. So attendance matters. And in many teams, the most valuable partner is not the fastest runner of the group. It's the steadiest and the most dependable one.
I'm so glad we did the episode on this. Finally, a full episode dedicated to this.
All the horsies.
It's been so long overdue. You know, as coaches and athletes, it's hard to think of a more powerful training tool than the draft horse effect.
Yeah. We hope that this episode has you thinking about how you can use it both now and in the future and see the gains that you are going to go forward with your group. We're pumped.
Giddy up.